All right, so we're here today with Couch Time with Cataya, and I'm welcoming in Paige, which I have known for quite some time. We haven't seen each other for a period of time, but we work together in holistic, herbal, natural health with in one of the companies here in Vancouver, and we definitely share a lot of the same passions around holistics and healing. And yeah, I'll let you introduce yourself, Paige.
Yeah, so I'm Paige. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist. I am currently studying acupuncture as well, and I'm running two health and wellness clinics. Life's been busy and good, and I'm really excited for this.
Beautiful. Okay. Well, and it's funny because one of the first things that stood out for me when I got your chart details to look at a little bit more of who you are and what your walk is in this life, and it's very common to see this that let me just see your placement. So it's in your moon placement that you have the nakshatra, which is called Kritika. So nakshatras, basically what they are is they're the lunar mansions beyond the planets that bring in influences down towards us that really harness the type of personality that forms. So there are the influences that naturally get activated within us and where we'll naturally be pulled and drawn to go in certain directions. And with Kritika, the symbolism is actually a knife or like a piercing dart. So it's about transforming a certain area, a certain avenue that needs to be transformed or to have more clarity around. So it's very precise. Like the word Kritika comes from the element of like it can be like critical, or it can be like critical thinking, or the ability to be able to go in with something like with a very strong lens to understand something on a very deep, profound level. And so when Kritika is very dominant, it's not surprising that, and it's a combination with some of your nakshatras, that there's the dynamic that you would be drawn to work with something that's very piercing, which acupuncture, of course, is like precision and piercing. So it's like, yeah, it's so funny when I,
That's amazing.
yeah. um, yeah, as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, this I'm not surprised, and this totally makes sense. And even, I was going to go into a different facial placement. So we have, like, through phrenology and personology, face mapping is something that has really arisen. And there's so many things I could say about the different structures of your face right away. And there was one that I wrote down some notes on that I was like, I'm going to go this direction. But I'm actually going to revert right now because Ashwini, which is a nakshatra that I referenced last week, is in one of your most dominant placements, which is your sun. And when you see Ashwini natives, they have the pitched eyebrow where basically it goes up, and it's very sculpted and shaped. So it's like when you're looking at someone who's an Ashwini dominant, like in your sun, moon, or rising, usually right away you can see like the eyebrow is going to have that shape, it's going to have that pitch to it, and right away you typically know you're communicating with somebody who's an Ashwini native. And Ashwini is all about the healer, so there's different quality traits to every nakshatra, but the fact that Ashwini is dominant within your makeup with some of your other nakshatras that are very predominant, what it definitely does is it will activate forward what I would call the highest quality of that nakshatra, which is to go into medicinal properties, to go into healing properties. With Ashwini, you can see like a love of horses. You can see a draw towards like vehicles and cars. Um, there's a whole element that takes place with Ashwini. Also, cosmology, or not cosmology from a cosmology this place, but cosmetics also comes in very strongly with Ashwini. And I have this in my chart as well too, so I very much understand this dynamic. I worked in the cosmetic field for a period of time when I was traveling. But in its highest quality, the person will be drawn to holistics and will be drawn to healing and healing modalities. So that mixture of Ashwini coming in with your Kritika, like it's like the perfect mixture to really bring in the person who's going to work with acupuncture and to work with like finite detail. So super, super, super fascinating.
I'm like, thank goodness I picked the right career choice. Like, when you have that doubt as a student, you're like, oh, never mind, it's fine.
Yeah. You're on track. You're like, you're right on par with your soul, like your soul work and what your soul's here to do. It's funny because I'm gonna just jump into some nakshatras today. I might, yeah, we'll free flow. I should time myself because I can definitely go down the rabbit hole. So I want to make sure not to be too long and in our video posting. But I am going to dovetail into your Rahu placement. So the first thing that I looked at when I looked at your chart was that your Rahu is in your sixth house. So what that means is that Rahu is where we're going to be like really, really driven, where we're really focused in this life, where we are almost obsessive about a certain element. Like it creates like a high level of desire that feels a little bit unsatiable. So it will pull us and we'll continue to be drawn by it. So even with your Rahu placement, like you'll probably continue studying holistics and medicinal aspects, or continuing your level of understanding with acupuncture and probably Chinese medicine. Like it'll probably be something that will continue to unfold in your lifetime. Like there'll be a need to always understand more and to always evolve more. And it's in the house placement of the sixth house.
You're seeing me. Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah. Well, and even to have met you with the place that I met you years ago, and to see where you were at, and like the draw coming up and the pull coming up to start the study, like I can see your chart and I can totally see your journey, and I can totally see that pull that came forward. Even your Rahu, so there's what's called dasha. So it's when certain things become dominant. You're running a dasha period where Rahu is the most predominant. So it's like leading, it's like the horse is leading the cart in the direction that it needs to go. And it's in your Rahu. So basically this part of medicinal work and medicinal medicine is going to be like it's activated. Like you're completely on par to what you should be doing at this point in time in your life. Like it's super, super activated, and it's in your sixth house. And so when we look at sixth house is all about those who are ill, those who are suffering, those who are dealing with acute disease. And so it's going to activate that component of like, how can I help this person to move through this health issue that they're dealing with? How can I help to transform this? And it's also in Uttara Ashada, and Uttara Ashada is dominated by the sun. And so when we see sun dominant nakshatras, what that means is that it's about needing to like really move into the throne of the work that you're here to do, and to be able to really shine the light at the brightest level possible. So there's a need to really achieve what you've put your focus into, and to be able to really transform where your focus is. So you're the type of energy that's going to be very unstoppable. Like it's like, I'm here to do this. I'm here to achieve this. And like kind of hell or high water, you're going to make it happen, because you have this really, really dominant energy that is going to make sure that no matter what is taking place, you're going to have a way to maneuver around any obstacle that comes up. And Uttara Ashada, I'm going to give you a little Vastu remedy. So Vastu remedies are basically when we understand our chart. There's ways to bring in very strong elements to achieve what's in our chart. And the fact that you're running your period of Rahu, so we go through different periods of time where it's like one planet will be more dominant, so it's going to bring in the learning and the teachings of that planet. And so when we understand what's the most dominant, it's really good to work with how to support that energy to come through at its maximum level. And so and I know I'm jumping around all over the place, but this is my Gemini mind, that one of the ways to really bring forward those qualities are to work with the animal that relates to that quality. So the animal that relates to that quality would be the elephant. And so if you had a little statue, or you had a picture or a painting of an elephant with really strong tusks, it's very important that the tusks are very strong and the trunk is raised. And you have that, let me just make sure your placement is where I am quoting properly. Um, it's going to be in the south to southwest part of your home. If you have that picture or that statue in the south or southwest part of the home, it's going to help to really like bring forward it. It's like almost like a magnet. It magnetizes to you the qualities, the positive qualities of that nakshatra to help you to really move forward with what it is that you're focusing on. And I mean, this nakshatra is so predominant for achievement that I mean, you don't probably even need that per se, but it's like almost helping to like soften any areas where there might be obstacles. Like you said, before we jumped on the call, you said that you're, you know, having to do a lot of your schooling distant wise, which is going to, you know, be very, could bring in different challenges with how to fully integrate or materialize the information because you're having to, you know, to go about it in a different way than would typically be taught with this type of very specific form of healing work. With having that remedy, it's going to help to like soften those areas where it feels like there's a bit more of a struggle.
Perfect. Yes, done. Elephant
Yeah.
is this afternoon.
Yes. Um, and you know what, I'm just gonna let myself go into the other ones that I was excited to talk about. So the face mapping piece, and it also it relates, right? So the fact that you have a sun dominant Rahu placement, which is very determined, it's going to turn over hell or high water any area that it wants to really achieve. Is I was looking at your photo on social media, and the first thing that stood out to me, well, your eyebrows stood out. It's like you're definitely an Ashwini dominant woman. And also your cheekbones, that you have like high raised, very predominant, very rosy, like rounded cheekbones. And what that means is that when somebody has that very dominant, they're very open to challenge. So it's like you need adventure, you need challenge, you need to be able to go out there to seek something that's going to really satiate you and really fulfill you on a very deep level. So you're not afraid of change. You're not afraid of what it looks like to step into something that's going to perhaps feel a little bit like there's going to be obstacles involved, or that it's going to, you know, take you down a little bit to a certain degree. Like you're going to be very strong at like achieving those challenges. And more so, not even just achieving the challenges, being very excited about overturning the challenges. So yeah, it's like new smells, new tastes, new ideas, new concepts. Like you always kind of need to bring in the new. And one of the ways to ensure that this nakshatra works for you in your favor, somebody who has this dominant could be like, okay, I need my next relationship, I need my next like country, I need my next experience. Like it can go on the extreme. But even just bringing in elements where you lightly tap into changes that are going to allow you to feel that freshness. It could be like, I'm going to check out a new restaurant, I'm going to check out a new menu, I'm going to check out um, a new place to go for my walk, or a new place to like go check out the ocean. Like if you allow yourself that ability to move into the fresh challenges from a place of like satiating that curiosity or that wonderment, it can keep you on track. Because when it's very dominant, it could be like, okay, now I have finished my traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture, and now I need to become a doctor. Now I need to like, you know, it can be like this.
That is what it is. Actually my plan. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I should eat in a new restaurant first. Oh,
Well, and if it fulfills you, great. But if it's like, okay, say we'll use relationships as an example. If it's like I'm in a partnership and that partnership is fulfilling me. Also, Uttara Ashada can find it very difficult to find a partner that feels fulfilling enough. Just um, as a piece, because it's like there's always a seeking for like betterment and new and fresh. So say if you're in a partnership and it's like this partnership works, I'm going to continue to make it work. So rather than feeling like, okay, there's how many different people out there I could date or how many different people I could meet, rather than jumping into a new scenario over and over and over again. It can be like how to continue to refreshen this experience of this partnership to continue to evolve it forward. So it's like giving it the ability to allow it to evolve itself and to continue to bring in fresh energy into it over and over again. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that you said that you want to like do your doctorate after this. When I look at your chart, it's like that's definitely something that can come forward very, very easily and very strongly. So as long as it feels like it's always keeping you on track in the direction you want to go, because it can feel like that freshness is like, you know what, maybe engineering is kind of interesting. I could get into like the components of like understanding the roots of like engineering. Like it could take us off track from the course that we want to be on if that degree of that need for satiation is not able to be met in the ways that we can meet it. If that makes sense.
That totally makes sense. And also why I went into interior design and then thought about architecture for a little while. Makes sense. I get it. Whoops.
I love it. It's yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna finish off with one core piece, which I've totally busted my Gemini. I can't keep it down to three things. Personality. I was looking at your name, and with your name analogy, your energy is a 652, and I'm going to focus on your inner world. And this is because I gelled with you right away when we met, like working in natural health. Is that you have a 2 in your internal world. So what that means is that you're more of a sensitive. You feel conflict very easily. Your root of yourself looks for harmony. It looks for balance. It looks for being able to like understand things from multiple perspectives, good, bad, right, wrong. So it's not black and white thinking. And you have the ability to like soften areas of conflict or where people are struggling, which is actually a beautiful thing for anybody involved in the holistic healing fields in any way, shape, or form. Is that 2 is going to bring in that nature that's really able to like soften the blow for people, to be able to really bring in an element where you're able to understand like the challenges that people would go through, and to be able to understand like the roots of why people have come to the place that they're in, and to almost like, I mean, holistic like counselors and coaches and people that work with the psychological nature of things, which I have 2 in my makeup as well, so I understand this on my birth path. The 2 will bring in the element where it's like helping to soften where conflict has happened, like internal conflict or external conflict, which completely dovetails into the work that you're doing. It's like, well, why do people have the health issues that they have? Why have they come to be in the place that they're in? You're going to be able to see that, understand that, and also help to move them through that from a psychospiritual level as well.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And I'm sure you probably have noticed that with yourself. Like, you won't want to be in areas where there's a lot of conflict, where there's a lot of like disagreement. You're going to feel it on a much deeper level. It's one of the most sensitive of the number systems. So you like, if a conflict has happened in a room, you're going to be a person who will have noticed that or experienced that, and you want to bring in harmony. It's like you have a desire and a need to bring in like to soften the blow of what that looks like, and to be able to move through wherever conflict has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. So I could easily go on and on and on, but we will stop it there. And so yeah, so I for myself, I have had the desire, and even too at one of our dinners, we went into name analogy and some different pieces years ago. We were talking about that before we jumped on the call. And yeah, so for myself, this is just something I became very passionate about years and years and years ago, knowing myself. And so I decided to put myself to the challenge this year. It came in very intuitively to do these little videos. So it's Coach Time with Cataya, and it's like snapshots of being able to understand your makeup and who you are. So if you're interested, if you're drawn, you can reach out to me, and we can set up a video time for diving in the same way Paige and I just did today. So, all right. So thank you, everybody. And I will stop the recording. And thank you, Paige, for being open to the exploring and the fun of doing this together with me.
Thank you so much. This was so incredible. So thank you for reaching out and grabbing me.
Thank you.